What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. I don't like Joe Biden at all, and I think that he's done a lot to wreck the country. However, once he was stabbed in the back and thrown out of his office by Kamala Harris, who is a vengeful, wicked person, Joe Biden decided to change his tune, and I definitely like the new tune of Joe Biden. I must admit, and I have admitted it publicly. I think Joe Biden has gone and done a full factory reset where he's now wearing MAGA hats and treating his fellow Americans like human beings. I think that's good and healthy for the country. I think that Joe Biden's also sabotaging Kamala Harris's chances of becoming president. When was the last time you saw them on the trail together? They're not campaigning together. Joe Biden is doing everything he can to actually undermine Kamala Harris, and this has been something that's been ongoing. Check this out. Biden doubted Harris's election chances. Well, guess who's right now? Guess who is being proven right? Kamala Harris is collapsing in all polls, and Joe Biden called it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's one part of this article that I want to bring your attention to. That Kamala Harris is such an insecure cretin, such a muppet, such an empty sock, gross empty tube sock to be thrown out with yesterday's laundry, that she had to stage dinners because she's too nervous to do dinners with Americans. In April 2022, Harris was a guest for a dinner in D.C. At some guy's home, a salon-style event that this guy hosts with Washington journalists and newsmakers. Harris's anxiety about the dinner was such that her staff had a mock dinner beforehand with staffers playing participants. Harris aides even considered including wine in the mock prep so Harris could practice with a glass or two. Kamala Harris can't even have dinner without having it all scripted and having to practice having dinner with human beings. Why am I saying this? Because Donald Trump is the exact freaking opposite of this. As it's something that Joe Biden has seen, that Kamala Harris is very incredibly weak, the lady that has low IQ and has never won a single political race she ever ran on a national scale. Kamala Harris, who was installed in California in all of her positions, Kamala Harris has never won a single primary or a single vote. She was installed by the Democrat Party without a process, without any tough interviews, and now it's showing. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is the champion of the people. And now it's showing. Everything from McDonald's, working at the McDonald's drive-thru, to going to the Steelers game, to surviving assassination attempts, to going into barbershops in the Bronx. Donald Trump surprises Bronx barbershop with visit as Queens native tells patrons, "You guys are the same as me." Could you imagine Kamala Harris saying something like that? "You guys are the same as me." Now, we covered this last week. The barbershop he went to was called the King of Knockouts. This is the location, if you're familiar with New York. You can see here, Manhattan Island. And then you see, this is the King of Knockouts here. This is the barbershop, right? Let's just call it an urban barbershop, right? Like images of the barbershop. Okay, let's call it what you would call an urban, inner city barbershop, obviously in the Bronx. Now, Donald Trump is beloved in the Bronx. Donald Trump has done rallies in Harlem and the Bronx, has gone and done campaign events. Donald Trump brought up rappers that are famous in this part of the world, Chef G and Sleepy Hollow, and said he wants a grill.
I want to get that done.
President Trump, oh man.
I want to get that done, he says.
One thing I want to say. One thing I want to say, they always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us.
It's not wholesome. It's wholesome.
Make America great again.
Come on, man. It's like Donald Trump saying he wants a grill.
Appreciate you.
Trump saying he wants a grill. Just down the street from this barbershop. Maybe those guys get their hair cut. Maybe those rappers get their hair cut here. Not sure. Community reacts to former President Trump's visit to Bronx barbershop. He was in the barbershop for about an hour and spoke to members of the community. He also asked for a haircut. Now, last week, all we had were some of the very small snippets from social media to play for you, like Donald Trump being welcomed like a conquering hero into the barbershop itself. However, now we finally have the actual footage that they filmed professionally that Fox News filmed. This is also a good example of like the Instagram live footage that we got, right? That was, suboptimal, It was like filmed from a corner, and this is all we had. Audio wasn't great. You could still sort of hear what Donald Trump was saying. Donald Trump, you're the best. I love these people. Yeah, I mean, that's right. Kamala Harris has to stage dinners. Donald Trump. We're going to win. We got to make America great again. That's right. And Trump gets handed a MAGA hat. There you go. Trump handed the MAGA hat. So this is all we had. Now Fox News has released the interview. It's awesome. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. First off, Donald Trump asking for a haircut. Something that I wish he did. There's plenty of AI about what Donald Trump's hair could look like if he got that haircut. But here we go.
Is he a good barber too?
Yeah.
Who's better, you or him as a barber? How long have you worked here?
11 years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Could he give me a good haircut yet?
You gonna do it?
I do it.
That's the master right there.
Who's the master? Is he the best?
Right there. He's the best.
He's your oldest guy. 35 years. I've been coming in 35 years.
He looks like a young guy.
Yeah.
I've been coming to him since
Good job. He did a good job with your boy, I tell you, right?
Yeah.
He did a good job with your son, huh?
He's a great kid.
He's doing
Love
good.
it. I'm proud of
And
him.
you have other kids too?
Yeah, I got four altogether. Two girls and two
All
boys.
good. I'll bet all good, right?
They're all doing great.
I can look at him and see that
Yeah.
you all
I'm
turned out
happy.
there.
I'm in peace.
Do they work here too at all?
No. One of them works with him in his restaurant.
Two of them works with me.
Oh, good. What do you do?
I'm a real estate investor, and I own
Good.
a restaurant and a bar.
Good, great. You look great.
I'm here next to the president. I got to look great.
Donald Trump then asking about the American dream. And a lot of these guys, I mean, I don't know. It's New York, right? It's the Bronx. So you'd assume there's first and second generation immigrants there that want the American dream to continue, obviously. So does everyone in this country, presumably, except for the dirty communists. Donald Trump on the American dream.
My biggest concern is the future and the future generation,
Right.
my kids' generation.
Yeah.
A lot of people are worried that attaining the American dream at this point in time and in the near future is going to be unattainable for this upcoming generation, which I have kids that are part of that generation.
How many kids you have?
I have two, a 17 and an 18-year-old.
Good.
Now, I believe one of the biggest hurdles we have when it comes to attaining that American dream is overtaxation.
Yeah.
When it comes to federal taxes,
Right.
I know we're going to bring back, I'm sure you're going to start back up the pipeline,
Right.
the Keystone Pipeline,
In 2 minutes.
which is going to generate an abundance of revenue.
Right.
Also, with the tariffs that you've spoken of. So my question is, with all this extra revenue
Yeah.
we're going to be bringing into the country, so do you believe at some point in time we could find a way, once the country's back on its feet and getting enough revenue and paid off our debt, do you
Yeah.
think it's possible to find a way to eliminate federal taxes for?
There is a way. There is a
and
way.
how do you feel about
in
it?
the
What
old
steps would you
days
take?
when we were a smart country, in the 1890s and all, this is when the country was relatively the richest it ever was. It had all tariffs. It didn't have an income tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now we have income taxes, and we have people that are dying. They're paying tax, and they don't have the money to pay the tax. No, in the old days, 1890, 1880, we had so much money, they had to set up committees, blue ribbon committees, how to spend our wealth. We had no idea how to spend it with so much money. Then we went to the income tax system, and the rest is sort of history. But no, there is a way. I mean, if what I'm planning comes out, it's a great question, by the way.
Everyone could attain
You're a
the
pretty
American dream.
sophisticated cat, you know.
Everyone could attain the American dream if it wasn't for the high cost, the burden of high taxes, and we're
Everything.
taxed at every step of the way.
Yeah.
When we make it, when
And
we spend
regulations. And regulations. So I cut more regulations in 4 years than any other president by 4 times.
What would President Trump do differently? Says the small business owners who's had their lives crushed by Kamala Harris's economy. Let's go.
What is one thing that you probably feel like you didn't do in your first term that you feel like you could do better now?
I'll tell you the one thing, because I did, look, we had the best economy with the best border. We had so I did a lot of good stuff, rebuilt the military. It's all about people. I got to get the right people. When I went there, I won. 92% of the presidents, 92% for the whole history of our country were politicians. 8% were generals. No admirals. 8% were, that's it. That's 100%. 92 and 8. There were politicians and there were generals. General Washington, et cetera, et cetera. George Washington. Thank you. You're doing very good at that. I'm just going to sign this out. Give me
I got longer arms than you.
Yeah, you do have longer arms. So here's what we do. We take all of that and we come, and here comes Donald Trump down the line. And so it's about people. It's all about people. I went to Washington 17 times in my entire life. So I wasn't a Washington person. I was a New York person. So when I went to Washington, all of a sudden I'm standing in the White House opposite the Lincoln bedroom. And I said, man, this is so amazing. But I didn't really know too many. So I had to rely on people to give me recommendations for people, to run agencies, to be secretary of this, secretary of that, all big stuff. And I didn't know anybody. I had to rely. And I still did great. Look, we rebuilt the military. We knocked out ISIS. We did all these things. We did great. We had the best economy. We had the best everything. Everything was good. But I had some people that if I had it to do again, I wouldn't have used. Now I've been there 4 years, plus another 4 that I'm sort of there in a way. I know the best people. To me, it's all about people. You got to have the right people. We have the best people lined up. We're going to do a great job.
Given the horrible effects of illegal criminal immigration to New York, it has all but destroyed that city, that poor city, they asked in this barbershop about criminal illegal aliens and sanctuary cities. Of course, is going to be top of mind. Trump's response, perfection.
This fellow right here, he used to be in law enforcement for some years. What would you say is the most important issue facing the country right now?
For me, it's the border.
Right,
For me, it's the border.
I agree.
And how to control that, how to keep illegal migrants from coming into the country.
Right.
Very important for me. And if I had a question to ask about it, would be how do we control the city, sanctuary cities? Because New York is
we get rid of them. We
Yes.
get rid of them because they're sanctuary. You know what they're for? Criminals. And all over the country, the criminals go there. But you're right. The polls are showing that inflation and not the border's third. They have inflation and the economy as the number one and number two issue. I disagree. I think inflation is massive. The economy is massive. But the border to me is like it's the fabric of our country. And we had the strongest border in recorded history. 4 years ago, you had a border. You didn't have the problems that you have now. Last week, they announced that we had 13,099 convicted murderers released from jails all over the world. It's not South America. It's all over the world, including South America. So I agree with you. I think the biggest problem we have is the border. It's something, and it's also the hardest thing to solve. And the only way you can solve it, you have to get the criminals, the murderers, you got to get them out. You got to get them out fast before they prey on our people. And
that was a big question for me because I'm a retired New York City detective.
Right.
So in New York here, we've run across that for a long time.
Well, the other problem you have is that you're not allowed to do your job.
Yeah.
And when you were there, you go back 10, 15 years, when you were there, you were allowed to do your job.
Yes.
New York's finest. They're still New York's finest, but they're not allowed to do their job.
This is what it looks like to be the man of the people. You're seeing it, and now you're seeing it reflected in the polls. Donald Trump just roaring ahead, winning in every poll and winning bigly. This is what it looks like to be the people's president. That's what populism is. Populism is popular. America first. It's your boy Betty. Like, share, subscribe. See ya.